Episode 65. Something seems different, doesn't it? At least, something would seem different for anyone that's been in and out as frequent as I have. It's the grass. And probably a lot of other things. In the last episode, this very same grass that we were looking at was modeled a little bit differently. With patch 7.1, which recently came out. Strangely, they updated a lot of, I guess, outdated areas. At least a couple of pictures were shown. That surprised me. Not sure why they paid particular attention to things like this, but it does look better now. I think there's probably a lot of things around here that changed. Under closer scrutiny, you could probably find many such small changes, but the one that I noticed was the grass. It's 3D now, well, sticking more out of the ground, whereas previously it was just kind of neatly trimmed. But even more than that, what caught my eye in the patch notes for 7.1, among those other changes, was a screenshot of this area. This area where we spent a lot of the early episodes. I commented on how it looked beautiful, but they made it even more beautiful with patch 7.1. More textures, more everything. Grass, stuff in the water. I remember standing over here, talking to these guys for a quest. This shot is probably way different compared to what I have back on video. It almost makes me wish it looked like this when I started recording. I thought I actually had it pretty good since they updated a lot of the graphics with 7.0. I thought I was recording the most beautiful version of the game. But I ended up recording a version in this area, which pales in comparison to what it is now. Not that it matters. I don't think I would have waited for patch 7.1 several months to start recording just for these updated textures, but it would have been nice to do the whole Brass Blade questline in this area, especially have that boss battle. I even did some Black Mage quests over here somewhere in the water. I wonder if it looks any different from above. Well, it still seems to be modeled the same up here. I think. Maybe it's changed. Could we have more foliage? Of course, the main thing that they wanted to change was down here, but I assume they did all these graphic changes for certain areas just to make them look more in line with how good the game looks in later areas. Other places they updated included the market area in Ul'dah, I think. The different stands there that a lot of players hang around look a bit better now. But that doesn't really matter right now. Right now I'm supposed to be continuing something that is still outdated. The Zodiac weapon questline, which includes Ghosts of Amdapor, for some reason. If you don't mind my saying, it seems to me you've been wanting for stimulation of late. Aye, the air of torpor about you is quite palpable. Adventurers are as next of kin to explorers, my friend. Like us, you need regular doses of excitement, else you would like to shrivel up and die. I would hate to see that happen to you, so I will tell you of a place that will surely set your heart to racing. Amdapor Keep. 'Tis a ruined fortress situated in the South Shroud, dating back to the 5th Astral Era. If the thought of delving into the past sets your loins afire, the keep will surely serve to quench it. The entrance is watched by a woodwhaler named Maxine. Give her my name, and she will tell you all you need to know. Yet again, another dungeon that's just kind of pointed to us as a place to go for some fun. No real plot. Although Amdapor is pretty heavy in terms of background and lore for the game. 5th Astral Era White Mage stuff. Actually, there are a lot of Amdapor dungeons, I think. But this is the one for the quest. The Relic Reborn quest. Every now and again, after my screw up with the recording the other time, I have to check just to make sure that the recording is on. It'll probably be like that for a while, until I make another mistake. Don't think we've ever been down this path, snake molt. Guess we'll take it on ground. Goblins live here. I guess we were here for a little bit of the quarry mill mission, the refugees from Alamigo. Don't recall coming here though. Seems like a high level area. Relative to a realm reborn. Oh. No. This is the Odin area, where it's fought. That's why it's high level. Snake molt, here we are. I remember doing some astrologian quests here. Death mouse. Wow. Alright, Maxine. Maxine. Your Nidrick's recommendation, then you must not be without skill. That said, it is my duty to warn you of the dangers that await. The fortress was built by the Amdapori, an ancient people who rose to power upon arcane knowledge. During the heyday of their civilization, they built magnificent structures such as this. Alas, that splendor has long faded into memory, and the keep has become a lair for the Lambs of Dalamud, a doomsday cult. Some of the cultists have even succeeded in summoning Voidsent, and we Wood Whalers would welcome capable adventurers who would be willing to keep their numbers in check. They're the Lambs of Dalamud again. We met them briefly in some of the early quests, one of the first 3 dungeons we went into. Amdapor is kind of a whole deal in this South Shroud area. I guess sometimes confused with this area, where the lost city of Amdapor lies. And some other Amdapor stuff. But this is the one we're going to now. Unfortunately, no party of NPCs to enter with, and it's a rather strange time to try to party up with other players, but hopefully I don't have to wait too long. 11 minutes. Hopefully that's accurate. Well then, despite the time of night, that was a pretty quick queue. Looks like there are 2 summoners in this party. Everyone except the tank has a resurrection spell on them. I believe this dungeon has 1 or 2 interesting bosses, or at least one that I remember, kind of. This is not the interesting boss I'm talking about. Well, I guess he's interesting in his own way. Ends up dying in summoning his master, or something. That's what you get for summoning a Void Scent. I think Komori's pretty sick of Void Scent right now, after all the dealings she's had with them. And then this guy summons his own guy. Pretty crazy, huh? What is this? Oh, we got Asuna. They changed Asuna to an instant cast spell, which is interesting. Does have to kill the one guy, not the other guys. I have to pick the right summon whenever I think that the tank is going to be moving. And if we're standing still, it's okay to bring out a Freet who has a cast bar. guy's just out of range of the AoE, and now he's in. Oh, we're moving. Afraid to pull without the tag's permission. Probably shouldn't have done that. This is the interesting boss I remember. Much more interesting in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but still, I guess this guy's a staple. Be careful not to be pushed off the ledge with that attack. And it's over. It's probably a lot more interesting if you're not over-leveled or whatever, like we are. Because the boss gets slowly closer. I don't actually know what happens if it gets super close to you. In 7 Rebirth, it doesn't really outright smash you, and I guess it doesn't do it in this game either. But it probably gets pretty claustrophobic. Or it could. Maybe. I can't believe I weaved an item pickup with my GCD. Well, everyone can probably do that. Not an item pickup, a loot roll. All this summoning makes it hard to see, and it only gets worse as the summons get bigger. You can of course change the summon size when they get bigger, but I'm mainly thinking about the effects. The effects are something that kind of blind you, so you either have to turn off the effects, which I dislike, or just get used to not seeing. I only really turn off effects for people that are part of a the other two alliances you're not in one of the 24 people raids. I feel like the game should let you keep the effects on without having to worry about customizing it too much. The default setting is that the effects are on, and one would naturally assume that it should be playable with the effects on. Though most players probably customize it to turn most of them off or something for visibility. It's a good thing that customization is there, but I guess I feel like I'd be missing out if I didn't have the default stuff on. Are we getting behind this? We are. I mean, it's not like it did terrible damage. That kind of damage is pretty standard later on in the game, but I guess since I didn't take any damage, you're meant to not be hit by that. Just trying to DPS this guy down. Right, we have this. And no one stuck around for the commendation. I doubt anyone would want to. I'm probably just on duty roulette trying to get things done. Alright. And we got the thing for the thing. Back to Rowena. Clear on the deal? Then run along and fulfill your part of it. Ah, good on you. This is exactly what I was after. You've honored your part of the bargain, so I'll do the same. And more teleporting. Teleporting all around the place wasn't as bad in the main story quest, even if there was quite a bit of that. Teleporting becomes less necessary in later expansions, I'd say. I think I mentioned before they do a good job of keeping your main story stuff around a specific area. But for every expansion, and in this game as well, when they get to the patches, they just kind of expect you to teleport everywhere, because everywhere is open game. They're not adding new areas, they expect you to go around the areas that are part of the most recent expansion. It's just a gill sync, I guess. Oh yeah, I got an umbrella from the gold saucer. Back to pester me so soon. Judging from that smirk on your face, I take it you found what you need. Yeah, this text is about Wii U, alright. The gods would have killed the bugger that wrote it to use more normal bloody words. It'll take me bleeding moons to get through this lot. Time I could be spending on kettles. Gah. I'll try to make head or tail of it all. Why don't you take this here unfinished Veil of Wii U and try it out? As I mentioned before, it's still missing some bit, but it's all there shape-wise. Meaning it should serve you just fine as an ordinary weapon. Seeing as you're a ripe old summoner, mayhap you'll be able to feel out exactly what it wants for. That's to say, get out there and fight some nasty foes, as Wii U herself must have done back in the day. Sylphlands over in the East Shroud ought to serve your needs. Pit yourself against some sylphid-sized snarls and screeches, 8 of each I say, then come back and tell me what you gleaned. With the information in the text and your first-hand experience, I reckon we'll solve this puzzle yet. Won't even turn around to talk to me. He's that focused on the kettles. And now we're in the portion of the quest where we just slay a bunch of guys. Well, we haven't been to this part of the shard yet. Maybe we'll walk part of it. The parts that we haven't been to yet. By walk, I mean on the mount, just not flying. After all, when this quest was originally out, you would have had to do this all on foot. Well, mounted foot. The raining will obscure our visibility, so we can't take in the sights as much as I want to. But we can at least, I guess, admire the geography of the map. The twists and turns. What are these for, anyway? It's not the hunting log, or... I guess it is maybe the hunting log? Don't know if it's the summoner hunting log, or the Grand Company hunting log. Either way, I guess I want to do both, just to clear them out. Yeah, that's the Arcanist hunting log. That's just for experience, I guess. What I really want are the seals. Let's see. Oh, but I have to rank up for this anyway. Oh right, we're walking. Yeah, the rain makes it a bit harder to see, but... Oh. One moment. I am getting a phone call. Be right back. Almost forgot to hit record. Again. Should get out our chocobo as well. Whatever experience these guys are worth, I'm not sure they're going to level up the chocobo too much though. The way chocobo experience works is I think it mainly gets experience for taking on foes that are of equivalent level as you, or comparable level rather. Since we're level 56, anything that we're fighting right now might not be worth experience. Well, they still want us to head towards this ring, kind of overlapping with that fate. I'm not very often in this area. It feels like there's only fates in these kinds of places. The beast tribe seats of power. They specifically avoid these areas in the main story, but as a result, I think most people just kind of ignore these areas, unless they were playing back in the day. That's not who I want to attack. Seal of the blade. Guess that's the fate target. You just don't get so many seals from fates. I don't feel like it's worth it to go after. Especially not on camera. Maybe there are certain fates that give more seals than others, like the higher level ones. Or it could be the same across all fates, to encourage people to participate any fate in the world with other players. One more of each. And there are the last two right there. It worked out nicely. Fortunately, not all of these steps in the quest are like this, but they get worse. This is still the first part of the entire Relic Reborn questline. There are different stages for each weapon, and in total around 8 stages, I think. And this is the part of the quest that's actually, I guess, taking the least amount of time, with the least amount of grinding. Back already. Either found your way, and I take it you got nothing to show for your time with the Sylphs. Might be as you want for better sport. And I know just the creature will give it to you. The Hydra, what reigns over the fiends within Halatali. A nasty piece of work, that. Trying to piss your britches when you see it. And of course, they want us to go to Halatali, but not actually do the Halatali dungeon, which would actually be a lot simpler than what we have to do. Now, even though we fought this guy in a dungeon, just like we did with the Chimera in a different dungeon, we actually have to fight an upgraded version specifically for the Relic Reborn. Again, another 8-man trial. These two, the Hydra and the Chimera for a Relic Reborn, they're kind of plagues upon the duty roulette. I mean, I guess whoever gets them in the duty roulette knows that they'll have an easy, free win, basically. But for people that are trying to, I don't know, find something interesting in their daily grind, these are not that. I suppose it's a good thing for us that it's included in the duty roulette, otherwise we'd never ever match up with other players. And yet, the wait time is still incredible. More than 30 minutes, apparently. I'm going to be here for a while, but hopefully not forever. I do not even want on record how long that took. That was actually way worse than the Chimera. Well, it's my fault for queuing at a strange time. Did actually try to solo this again, like the Chimera. Don't think it would have worked out with the way Summoner works. Don't want to be in front of that guy. Here itself, you want to be right under it. It's not really telegraphed. And not that well known, judging by how many people were hit by it. You also kind of get cleaved by this guy if you're facing the front of it. Another untelegraphed thing. It's meant to be shared between the tanks, but we can get caught in the crossfire, I guess. Soloing this wouldn't be too bad, but unfortunately, the summoner's healing doesn't quite heal that much. man, what a ride. Summoner's Healing, the only move that they have, Physic. It's kind of a relic, I guess. It only heals around that much, but the healing is based on the character's stat, Mind, which only upgrades really for an actual healer class. I guess this might have made more sense back with the way stats worked back in the day, but as things are now, no matter how much you level up as a summoner, your healing won't really level up with you. Maybe it's meant as a tool for the early levels or something. But, I don't know. Feels like they should either update it or remove it. The Red Mage, by comparison, has a healing move that works off the intelligence stat, which does level up, based on your caster DPS level, and gear, more important. But no real way to get the actual summoner to level up their healing. Even with the Epic Echo and the Normal Echo, I'm not sure I would have been able to do that trial solo, but maybe I should have tried it rather than waiting as long as I did. Anyway. You're still alive? Why those you adventurers have to be so goddamn sturdy? I was bloody sure you'd be hydrodung by now. But what's done is done. In this case, not done. Anyway, let's talk about the text you brought. It contains the many trials and tribulations of our green-eyed heroine. As you might expect, the tome tells you a fuller story than you'd get from your grandmama. Thankfully, one of the chapters happens to describe Wii U's Grimoire in detail. I thought that the studs would adorn it were only good for holding the bloody thing together, but it turns out they're meant to channel the wielder's aether as well. You learn something new every day, eh? Any road, it should be easy enough to replace the stud with someone more suitable for the job. As you can see, I've done my research. I trust you've also been pulling your weight, putting the relic to use like I said. Well, go on then. Tell me what you learned. That's so, eh? I'd wondered about that. Based on what we've gleaned from the text and your first-hand experience, I'll rework the relic so as to improve your affinity with it. Hand it over for a second, will you? Noting about that quest, if I didn't complete it with the actual weapon here, I would have had to do it all over again. I'm glad I equipped it. There, the deed's done. That leaves us with one last step. That is, we'll emerge in the old relic, the new host, and the soul of the bearer. Aye, that's you. Only then can the weapon be restored to its former glory. But to do this I need a fire what's hotter than seventh hell, and to keep such a fire alive and raging, I need a wind what's fiercer than the hangover I had last week. Guy, you know what I mean. Let's get me a white-hot ember, a howling gale, and a chunk of hyperfused ore, and I'll finish your bloody weapon. I need me a bottle of Razatan quetching oil, as well to cool it off. Those items can be gotten from Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan hard mode, and the Razatan quenching oil for some endgame currency over at Revenant's Tool. This is a point where I would say that I have all of those materials prepared in advance, considering I did all of those duties and whatever. Unfortunately, I did this in a bad order. This is what I was dreading getting to. After I realized that I did all the trials on hard mode, and then started this quest only to realize that they're meant to be done after accepting this quest. You do not get the materials if you do the trials beforehand. They show up in your key items or something, but I would have thought they'd be dropped by the boss every time you clear the trial. Turns out you only get one if you're actually doing the quest currently. It would make more sense to me if you could actually farm those materials for future relics that you're doing on other classes, but I guess that's not how this works. Meaning once again we have to queue one by one each of Efreet, Garuda, and Titan on hard mode. If I knew that, I would have done this quest first. Well, it doesn't matter. I already recorded those, so I guess they don't have to go into the recording. I'll just gather those materials off screen. And surprisingly, it probably won't take as long as it took to actually wait for the damn Chimera. And back from having gathered all of the main materials needed from all 3 of the trials. Let's just say Komori already got these the first time she went through, and she just now remembered that she already had them. I can't really justify a reason for going back and killing Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan again, even though we've already done that twice now. And I guess we have a 3rd one upcoming, even in the lore, for the extreme versions. That's later. Maybe. I did actually switch data centers actually. After searching around, I learned for the first time that the duty finder doesn't actually matchmake you with other players from other data centers, so since I was in Dynamis, which is an underpopulated world, that decreased my chances of actually finding anyone, which is why my encounter with the Hydra took as long as it did. I probably would have had to wait, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the time, still a pretty long time, if I came to one of the more popular servers that I'm in right now. Switched over to Primal here in Normandy. I'll probably stick around in this world server while I continue to do more duty roulette stuff. At least as long as the stuff that I'm doing is heavy on that. All of the side content that I have to do for the patch quest is going to be a lot of waiting, I guess, so it's probably best if I stick around in this. Anyway, Geralt. So you're back. Never doubted for a second you'd trounce all 3 primals and come back to pester me again. Alright. And let's see the White Hot Ember, the Howling Gale, and the Hyperfuse Door. These ought to get me the levels of heat I need. Which leaves just that raw Zodhan quenching oil for cooling things afterwards. You've got that too, I assume? We did some shopping ahead of time. We are actually prepared. You've done your part, so I'll do mine. Watch now, and try not to bat your eyelids. Ain't every day you get to see a relic reborn. These gods-given hands worked yet another miracle. Feast your eyes on the Veil of Wii U, just as it was in the days of yore. 'Tis a sight to move a man to tears, you lucky bastard. You'd better bloody well take care of it. And we got our first purple weapon. But of course, this is worse than what we have. Actually, I'm surprised it does more damage, but the main thing is that the item level is lower, which of course doesn't actually affect anything, but it reflects the stats that actually matter. The bonuses below. Vitality, intelligence, all of that. Those add way more attack power than a measly 2 magic damage stat, to my knowledge. I don't know the exact math on that, but I'm pretty sure it's still better than I'm doing right now. But we'll equip this one. For a moment. It's got a fancy stick sticking out. I hope Komori learned a lot from this endeavor, because I am not continuing the quest. No, that's for Black Mage. That's strange. I'm not continuing the quest, but I'm pretty sure there should be the next step for... Venus. Oh. Actually equip the weapon. No, wait, we need to upgrade this somewhere else? What exactly does that need? And where do you do that? Not him. I guess we can check with Rowena. Right, Mordona. One of these blues? I don't think so. No, these are all funky stuff we'll do later. That's it. Tooling around? Maybe? Even though it's locked? No, that's a crafting thing. Well, I wanted to highlight the new quest while I was talking about how I'm not going to do it. But I guess I don't even know where it is. Still got a couple minutes remaining. This was added in patch 7.1. Further expansions to Hall of the Novice, which explain more of the detailed combat mechanics. And it also gives you a nice ring, kind of like the brand new ring, but for higher levels, up to level 60, which I guess still would apply to us. Probably worth doing this. I wonder if I can finish this in 5 minutes though. We'll leave it for next time. In exchange for all the waiting that I had to do, it's fine if this episode is shorter than usual. All of that waiting could be called a break, but it was very tiresome. I think I deserve a break, a real one, after all that waiting.